Sorry I couldn't be there. I've been hit by COVID. I'm still dealing with it. I'll do the best I can in memory of my buddy Shaver. I called him Shaver. He called me Hazlitt or Haz. We use last names, a trait we probably picked up from our fathers. We instinctively understood each other because we were both sons of truck driving dads. Shaver extended that family bond and his love of trucking by rolling down the highways clear up until his last days. We first met as teachers at Ocean View back in the early 80s. We laughed and scratched for the next 20 plus years at the daily challenges and absurdities of teaching. We met first when he got stuck teaching history next door to my classroom. He wasn't delighted with his assignment because he was Mr. Driver's Ed, but he had a strong work ethic. I was amazed by the fact that he had written out a daily routine for all 180 days by the end of the second week of the school year. Organization was his specialty. I remember being overwhelmed by this skill. When I sauntered into his classroom and saw file cabinets and color-coded assignments, each with a number on top. Once when I visited him at home, he proudly showed me 3 or 4 binders with all the finances and important family documents numbered and color-coded. Shaver's love and concern for his family was number one. Our conversations usually centered on his grandchildren and their milestones. I heard about every hit and tackle that his grandsons made and the accomplishments of his granddaughters. He became so excited in telling me about his grandchildren's achievements that I became a fan even though I had never met them. He was also very proud of his son and daughter, impressed by what good parents they were. His modeling as a dad deserves much of this credit. His friendship stood out for me. The shenanigans of teaching was punctuated with numerous trips to spring training. A few years ago, we got together for a spring training trip, just as we did in the 1990s. We spoke regularly with phone calls relating our life events weekly. He kept me on a hopeful, positive plan as I struggled with annoying aging and health issues. Shaver was always upbeat and interspersed our conversation with jokes and funny incidents. More importantly, he was a true friend, someone you could count on. He's one of the few guys that kept in touch with me after I retired. In life, there are acquaintances and friends. Shaver was a foxhole friend. He was loyal, honest, and decent. What more can you ask for in a friend? My life is punctuated with classic Shaver moments. One that brought laughs that he never forgot was the time I stood up in a small rowboat, nearly capsizing it. We took a day off to fish and competed against 4 other guys in our own little fishing derby. Although we caught fewer fish, none to be exact, we provided the laughter for the outing. This happened when I abruptly stood up and damn near capsized the boat. This is all a huge bowl of chips going overboard and him getting saturated with salsa. There were countless times I interrupted his teaching with unexpected appearances while he was dispensing DMV codes from his throne-like podium. Another incident came to mind occurred during the spring training trip. He actually backed into a car. Although it only produced a minor scratch, we rode him for the next few years by calling him Crash. This both delighted and irritated Shaver. The group expert at driving, it was good, clean fun at its best. We also wrote him out a schedule that he had for every spring training. He broke down 3-day ordeal into 15-minute segments. With Shaver in charge, we had only so many minutes to finish our morning breakfast, watch pregame batting practice, down a few chips and 2 quick beers before he ushers out to the next event on his schedule. Lily Shaver wanted to live every minute of his life. Shaver and I shared a love for singing. I remember competing in a school talent show, which he should have won. It was his romantic rendition of the Good Times that he sang with passionate love for Grace. But a rock and roll number with the band paled in comparison. Shockingly, the panel picked a violin-playing virtuoso that had put the audience to sleep. At his 60th birthday party, we did the classic duet of North to Alaska. It was the last time we sang together. His voice always rang true and full of feeling. Sadly, our weekly checks had ended abruptly. He informed me in late July about his upcoming surgery. The news was sudden and shocking. He was optimistic about the outcome and saw it as a minor detour, preferring to talk about his grandchildren and trucking. Needless to say, my life has always been altered without his weekly chats. His calls were always upbeat and optimistic. Little did I know that this would be our last conversation. They say if you're remembered by others, your life has meaning. To his family, he was delighted by every moment he had with them. To his friends, we're all better for knowing him. Shaver, rest in peace, buddy, and I'll see you on down the road. Your buddy, Larry Hazlitt.